evening and a pleasant welcome to News Hour. I am Mariama Thompson. Coming up, Chinese to construct West Africa Infectious Disease Research and Treatment Center in Sierra Leone. NASA to conduct survey ahead of implementation of the Sierra Leone Social Health Insurance Scheme. Ministry of Health and Sanitation to conduct a malaria indicator survey to assess the current trend in malaria infection. These stories and more, plus the business and sports news, are lined up in this edition of News Hour with me, Mariama Thompson. Don't go away. Welcome back, and first in the news this evening, the Chinese ambassador Chao Yunbo has disclosed that the Chinese government is planning to construct a West Africa Infectious Disease Research and Treatment Center in Sierra Leone. He made this disclosure during the relaunch and unveiling of plaques for the Reference Laboratory for Viral Hemorrhagic Fevers and National Training Center for Viral Detector and Biosafety at the Sierra Leone Chinese Friendship Hospital at Joy. Joseph Stanley, where's live?
The reference laboratory played a significant role during the Ebola crisis. Ambassador Yambo applauded the government for its stride eradicating Ebola as well as providing quality health care to the populace during the crisis period. He recalled that during the Ebola outbreak, China was the first country to dispatch medical personnel to Sierra Leone, noting that it was during that time they realized that the country is in dire need of diagnostic laboratory.
I clearly remembered 2 years ago when the Ebola broke out. China was the first country to provide materials to dispatch medical personnel. Know that detection of Ebola virus is the first the first challenge we face. So Chinese government hired a very big plane to send the mobile lab to Sierra Leone.
The Chinese ambassador expressed the Chinese government's commitment to collaborate with the government to fight infectious diseases in the country, as well as create an enabling working environment for healthcare providers nationwide. The Deputy Director General, Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, George Gao, said that infectious disease has no border, as it is a global concern, and pledged to build the capacity of health professionals in the post-Ebola recovery plan. The Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Abubakar Fofana, described China as one of the country's strongest bilateral partners at both national and international levels. He revealed that China was the first country to respond to the call of President Nkrumah for support in the fight against Ebola and thanked them for their timely intervention that saved lives. The health minister said that Sierra Leone is the only country in the sub-region with this type of facility, noting that this is the type of support the country needs to ensure a health resilient system.
I believe we are the only country in the sub-region with this level of laboratory, and I believe in the entire Africa, probably it's only South Africa that will have a similar laboratory, but I don't think there's any other country in Africa, outside of South Africa, that can boast of this facility. And they stood by us during the Ebola, and now going beyond in the post-Ebola, I am pleased to announce again that the People's Republic of China have committed themselves to supporting us in a way that even ourselves we have never imagined. They have even poised to come in an even bigger way than they came during the post-Ebola.
Dr. Fofana commended the Chinese government for their continued support to the country and expressed the hope that the ties between the two countries will continue to yield dividend. SABC News, Joseph Stanley reporting.
An organization to promote the welfare of vulnerable women and children has been launched in Freetown. Concern for vulnerable children and women has the motto, "Do one thing for a vulnerable child." The launching ceremony took place at the Atlantic Hall of the Sheikh Stephen Stadium. Sheikh Usmala reports.
War and post-Ebola Sierra Leone, the need to seek the welfare of women and girls is crucial for the growth and development of this nation. These categories of persons are most vulnerable in society, as was said by all of the speakers who spoke at this launching ceremony. Concern for vulnerable children and women is an organization that has been formed by people who believe that humanity must be served at all times. According to the Chief Executive Officer for Concern for Vulnerable Children and Women, Pastor Sita Conte, this is a non-profit-making organization established in 2014 as a result of atrocities committed by rebels during the war, which led to the breakdown of many families, leaving many women and children vulnerable, and the Ebola-making situation worse. Our aim is to restore their dignity and respect. She said their beneficiaries are mainly widows, single mothers, Ebola survivors, female prisoners, street children, street beggars, and commercial sex workers.
We work with orphans, we work with street children, we work with child beggars, we work with widows, we work with single parents, we work with prostitutes, those people you refer to as commercial sex workers. We work with the female prisoners in the correctional center. We work with these youths who are addicted to drugs. We work with the ghetto youths as well. We work with these guys you call clique boys. They are our friends. We don't call them clique boys. We call them our friends.
Chairing of a launching ceremony, Executive Director, Disability Sierra Leone, Teddy Fodemusa, said it is a good thing to do, taking care of women and children. As growing up, he said he saw sufferings of children of his age, and when he became a teacher, he experienced it among his pupils. He commended Concern for Vulnerable Children and Women for making it possible to take care of the most vulnerable in society. Deputy Minister of Sports, Ismail Al-Sanko Conte, said women and children are the most vulnerable and must be collectively looked after to change their conditions. I am proud to be part of this arrangement, he said.
The name of the organization is sending a positive signal in the minds of the public and also in the minds of its beneficiaries, because the word vulnerable is specifically targeting people who are actually in need. And in our country today, we know children, women are the most vulnerable. And it is our responsibility to assist them in any way necessary to change their lives and improve their status.
He called on well-meaning Sierra Leoneans to support the organization in the interest of women and children of this nation. Company Secretary, Mercury International, Madam Cummins John, officially launched of the Concern for Vulnerable Women and Children.
It is a fact that children and women are the most vulnerable in society. I mean, it's not just limited to Sierra Leone, but worldwide. And I have to commend the Executive Director and members of the board, as well as all of those who, in their different ways, have been responsible for the creation of such a wonderful initiative. In conclusion, I hereby officially launch the Concern for Vulnerable Women and Children.
Among those who made meaningful contributions was Kev Koba from the Society for Democratic Initiative. Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Sheikh Usmaila.
The National Social Security and Insurance Trust, NASIT, has launched the willingness to conduct a survey ahead of the implementation of the Sierra Leone Social Health Insurance Scheme. The launching took place at the NASIT headquarters in Freetown, which will see enumerators going to the 149 chiefdoms in Sierra Leone to seek the views of citizens about how willing they are to contribute to the social health insurance scheme. Francis Bernard witnessed the launching ceremony and filed in this report.
This launching, according to the Director General of NACID, Joseph Saidumans Jr., is the start of a process which, according to him, will benefit Sierra Leoneans and that it will improve on the health sector in the country. This scheme, according to the NACID Director General, will target those in the formal and informal sector.
What we've launched this morning is the willingness to pay survey. That's what we have launched. It's part of an exercise to give us the information data so that we'll be able to use for the design of the scheme. But suffice it to say that health is a very important factor in any country, the health of citizens. And His Excellency the President is of that view. And sometime middle of last year, he gave this mandate to the Ministry of Labor and Social Security to collaborate with NACID in the development of a scheme, a healthcare scheme, a universal healthcare scheme that will take care of all its citizens.
A social health insurance scheme is one which recognizes that the health and well-being of individuals is an asset to society. Social health insurance is managed by a government agency, an agency for the government, or a non-profit institution. The right of access to social insurance is set down in rules applying to the whole population, contributing to the fund or receiving benefits from it. According to the World Health Organization, good health is required for economic and social development. According to the National Coordinator of the Sierra Leone Health Insurance Scheme, Dr. Joseph Kamara, some of the principal causes of poor health are inadequate prevention and lack of reasonable access to basic health care, along with poor nutrition. He maintained that some of these health issues will be addressed once the implementation of the health scheme kicks off.
We've met with the informal sector nationwide, and now we are about to launch the willingness to pay survey.
A group former workers of African Minerals Limited, now Shandong, have expressed disappointment over how authorities are taking the matter that has to do with their salaries and severance packages. Kai Senesi is one of the group workers. He was on Good Morning Sierra Leone TV show.
It's rather unfortunate our position we found ourselves now. But it's actually heart-rending for a nation to find its citizens in such a situation. We have been staffs of the former company African Mineral, which has been changed over now to Shandong Steel Group. We have worked with this company for various years. As for me, I have served the company for 9 years.
9 years?
9 years. I was transferred from the Thompson iron ore mines to the Bo exploration camp due to operational structuring. I went to the Bo exploration camp. Fortunately, I met a few other colleagues there that were securing company properties worth over thousands of dollars.
Okay.
It came to a time the management of African Minerals, the head office, Freetown, dispatched 2 senior officials to the Bo exploration camp. Mr. Abdul Tijansi, who is the company legal advisor, and Mr. Harold Smith, who is the security manager and happens to be the asset evaluation officer. They went there and asked the staffs that the management in Freetown have asked them to close down the camp. They asked us that we should get prepared to do the camp packing and we should come over to Freetown. We spent 3 weeks on the whole operation and everything was packed and moved over to Tonkolili, where they requested for fleet of trucks. They were with us, aiding us in moving over.
They paid for the 9 years of work for?
Well, that's the unfortunate part of our situation now. We have never been sacked. Termination, dismissal, or redundancy, none of the above. As I'm talking to you now, we are still staff of the past company and now the present company.
You're presently working?
Presently, we are not working. We have been driven out of the office by Mr. Abdul Tijansi.
For a year now?
For a year now. We have been without salary for 15 months now.
So what is more for the country?
Initially when this issue started, before even they sold the company over to the Shandong Steel Group, we have been going there trying to see the top management authorities. We've seen with the HR manager, he told us, let's try and see Mr. Mosiri Fadika. He is the sole responsible individual for our issue. We saw the accountant, the same statement she made to us.
That you should see,
we should see
the chief
Mr.
executive
Fadika.
officer.
Yes.
So this soon?
Yeah, we tried on a series of occasions to see him, but we were not able to see him because he was not in the country.
Have you channeled your complaint to say the Ministry of Labour?
We have channeled our complaint to various state authorities.
Okay.
Aggrieved worker of former African Minerals Limited, Kai Senesi. Well, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security has been accused by the public of not responding swiftly in addressing labor issues in the country. But contrary to that view, they have claimed that they have made all efforts to ensure that they get the side of the former African Minerals Limited, now Shandong, to address the problem. Anne-Marie Gebai spoke to the communication officer of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, Lansana Bayosise.
Clarification as to us, these people are still staff of Africa Mineral, now Shandong, because they were never retired, neither terminated, neither.
Oh, we apologize for not being able to bring you that one. He was the communication officer of the Ministry of Labor. Well, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, in collaboration with Catholic Relief Services, Statistics Sierra Leone, and the University of Sierra Leone, will conduct a malaria indicator survey to assess the current trend in malaria infection. The survey will be conducted randomly in selected households nationwide. Joseph Stanley reports. Mayor of the Freetown City Council, Franklin Buddy Gibson, has commissioned the Bololo Community Footpath Bridge back of Priscilla Street in Freetown. The bridge, worth 100 million leones, was constructed by the councillor of Ward 380, Alusain Alus Conte. Abubakar Bangura reports.
For the past 60 years, residents of Bololo community have been finding it very difficult to cross over to Sykes Street and its environs as a result of the non-availability of a bridge. According to report, the stream that runs through the community has claimed the lives of people, including 2 school children. The construction of the footpath bridge is dedicated to the safety of people and in memory of Emmanuel Lee and other contributors who shared their aspirations with the councillor of Ward 380, Alusain Alukonte, to provide the community with a bridge as promised. Access to Bololo community through Sykes Street was difficult, but with the commissioning, residents will breathe a sigh of relief and have easy access to both sides of the community. Commissioning the bridge, Mayor Franklin Buddy Gibson paid tribute to those who have contributed in making the project a reality, including Pam Mason, Edward Davis Associate, among others. Mayor Gibson praised Councillor Alusain Conte for listening to the cries of the people. He called on the community to own the bridge and provide maximum security to prevent people from destroying the railings of the bridge. He said the mandate of the council is to address the needs of the people in the municipality, adding that the bridge will serve as a strong pillar for the movement of people from one community to another. He cautioned people not to construct houses in disaster-prone areas and ordered the demolition of this building to prevent people losing their lives. The brain behind the construction of the bridge, Councillor Alusain Alukonte of Ward 380 praised Edward Davis Associate and Emmanuel Lee for providing the support and funds. He said even though there were challenges, the construction of the bridge will benefit Ward 380 and 381.
The people asked that I should do a footbridge in this particular community. And by the grace of God, I think God gave me all the necessary support. He touched the heart of the CEO of Edward Davis and Associates so that he can help me in the area of funding, and also council to give me the necessary support. So it was during 2008 when these people, the first meeting that I had with my people, they asked for a footbridge to gain access to the Sykes Street environs. And indeed, I've landed the footbridge.
Councillor Conte commended the youths, ward committee members and elders of the community for their interventions in monitoring every aspect of the construction work. He said this is just the tip of the iceberg as more projects are in the pipeline for Ward 380. The Member of Parliament for Constituency 107, Honourable Francis Kowa, said development is every individual responsibility in the community. He described the community as an eye-opener to all and promised to give his maximum support and cooperation to the councillor for the development of the community. Other speakers at the ceremony were pleased with the level of work being done so far by the councillor and encouraged residents to keep the community clean. The cutting of the tape by Mayor Franklin Bode Gibson climaxed the event.
The Foundation of Islamic Information Sierra Leone has organized its third national Quranic competition on the theme Allah raising some in status by means of his book and beloveds of others by means of Ishain Muslims. Participants were drawn from various parts of the country. The competition took place at the Miata Conference Hall, Brookfields, and Mariama Denkekano reports.
In his remarks, Chief Justice Honorable Abdullahi Cham called on Muslim scholars to continue with the passion they have for Islam. It said the competition is timely and will help participants to have strong faith in Islam, to always memorize the Holy Quran. Giving an overview of the competition, Abdul Latif Kagbo said the competition is geared towards developing the capacity of young Muslims to understand the Quran and in turn represent Sierra Leone in international competitions. According to Abdul Latif, the Foundation of Islamic Information Sierra Leone is to conduct the first national survey for Quranic reciters to develop a comprehensive database on the number of Sierra Leoneans that can memorize the Quran. The total amount of money provided for the competition was 16,600,000 leones. Participants were asked to recite the entire Quran, which was divided into 3 categories. Ali Mubah from the Western area clinched the star prize and received the sum of 3,500,000 leones.
This competition I've been doing training so much for that, more than 1 year. So alhamdulillah, I make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me this also. Inshallah, I don't about training, I meet me shake, train me more, make me go back.
Mariama Jello Mukhtarba came second and received 2 million leones. She said her husband has been so supportive to her in memorizing the Quran every day.
Well, I say I don't go say I do most of the woman who claim because my man the type of give me that support say to make sure say I able to learn this Quran here so like you know give me domestic works them for do. The only responsibility where you give me and always they tell me say now for read the Quran. That's my only responsibility. But the only thing they tell me for it is not a magic. Now effort now they make you able to achieve this thing. So if you put her, you take her, you let her, then you make effort, alhamdulillah, one day inshallah, you say to able to achieve the same goal you achieve.
Consolation prizes were also given to other contestants. Chief Judge and consultant of the Foundation for Islamic Information Sierra Leone, Sheikh Fahoud Adam Ba, said the winner would be properly trained to represent Sierra Leone at international Quranic competitions.
Ministry of Health and Sanitation, in collaboration with Catholic Relief Services, Statistics Sierra Leone and the University of Sierra Leone, will conduct a malaria indicator survey to assess the current trend in malaria infection. The survey will be conducted randomly in selected households nationwide. Joseph Stanley, again.
Addressing media practitioner, principal statistician Francis Tommy said the survey, which is conducted every 2 years, is meant to gauge progress on outcome and impact by measuring status of key malaria indicators. He maintained that the survey is also designed to measure the coverage of the core malaria control interventions as defined in the National Malaria Strategic Plan to help the country assess current implementation strategies. Mr. Tommy told newsmen that the malaria indicator survey is district-specific and designed to measure the performance of districts and regions, and that the survey is in conformity with international standards. The principal statistician disclosed that the survey represents the continued effort in Sierra Leone to obtain reliable and accurate data on malaria issues, and that the evidence-based information will no doubt be useful, among others, in charting future direction.
Statistics Sierra Leone, commonly known as SSN, had a state-of-the-art geographic information system at the office at Tower Hill. We have plotted all of the EAs, the clusters in this chiefdom, section, and even at ward level. From the office, we can tell you the hard to reach areas. But specifically, we are looking at Ujon, YKK, Yakemon, Pukumu. We look at Mano Sakri in Bond District, Dema, and half of Bond District, in fact. Koinadugu, you talk about Kubola. These are very difficult terrains to challenge. Cambia District, we have some river tablets this time. It's a handheld device. And in those tablets, we have indicated the coordinates, latitude and longitude, at each cluster level. The tablet will only open if you are in that cluster.
He added that during the survey, children 6 to 59 months will be tested for anemia and malaria, and those positive for malaria will receive free treatment. Mr. Tommy informed newsmen that the 2016 Malaria Indicator Survey will generate information on key malaria indicators that are useful for resource mobilization activities, including monitoring and evaluation. The program manager, National Malaria Prevention and Control, Dr. Samuel Joanna Smith, outlined the importance of the survey and appealed to newsmen to disseminate correct information to ensure reliable and credible survey. An interactive session formed part of the news conference. SLBC News Joseph Stanley reporting.
President Anas Barikoma has left Freetown with a 5-man delegation for Chad, Egypt and Zimbabwe to hold consultations with his colleague heads of state on the United Nations reform. President Anas Barikoma is the coordinator of the Committee of 10 Heads of State and Governments of the African Union. The president will also seize the opportunity to strengthen diplomatic relations with these countries. The president is expected in Freetown on the 30th of June. The Member of Parliament for Constituency 103, Honorable Rosaline Jariatu Smith, and councillors of the constituency have provided bags of rice and cash to 60 mosques in the constituency. The MP called on Muslims to continue to pray for the country and for President Anas Barikoma to succeed in his vision. Well, it's now time for us to take a pause in the menu stories, and we go over to the business desk.
According to the World Bank 2014-2015 West Africa
Business update with me, Awanatu Conte. We begin with the foreign exchange rates. The US dollar buys at 6,150 leons and sells at 6,274 leons. The British pound sterling buys at 8,258 leons and sells at 8,430 leons. And the euro buys at 6,820 leons and sells at 6,957 leons, courtesy of the central bank. Sierra Leone's economy has been hit by double shocks of the deadly Ebola virus and drop in the IMO in the international market. Lucien Ganda tells us more.
2014-2015 West Africa Ebola crisis impact updates. The economic and fiscal impact has outlasted the epidemiological impacts due to severe shocks to investment, production and consumption throughout the sub-region, Sierra Leone, Liberia and Guinea, coupled with commodity price shocks. The World Bank release states the overall impact of the Ebola crisis on Sierra Leone has been estimated at $1.9 billion. The shock has been worsened by the large decline in the world price of iron ore and other commodities. The World Bank projected that Sierra Leone's recovery is expected to be very slow this year, with a projected growth of 0.1%. Sierra Leone, according to the World Bank, as a commodity exporting country, had two major declines. The price of iron ore has dropped from $100 to $40 per ton, as the two of the mining companies, London Mining and Shandong Iron and Steel, are non-operational, as they are not able to receive resources from the export of iron ore, which has warranted the depreciation of the leones. Prior to the iron ore price shock, Sierra Leone had been one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa, mainly driven by the increased activities in iron ore mining, according to the World Bank. The high expectations were short-lived, as the price of iron ore on the international markets fell from $139.87 per metric ton in March 2013 to $40 by December 2015. This fall, coupled with the Ebola virus disease crisis, substantially eroded the country's fiscal space and undermined its growth projects. Business News, Lucien Ganda, Freetown.
Thanks to Lucien Ganda for that report. Well, that's the business update. I'm Awanatu Conte. Keep watching.
And with business, news hour comes to a close. But before we go, quick look at the top stories that made the news tonight. The government of China to construct a West Africa Infectious Disease Research and Treatment Center in Sierra Leone. NACED is to conduct a survey ahead of implementation of the Sierra Leone Social Health Insurance Scheme. And Ministry of Health and Sanitation also to conduct a malaria indicator survey to assess the current trend in malaria infection. Well, that's all in this edition of News Hour, broadcast live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. On behalf of my news editor, Abubakar Bangura, and the rest of the news team tonight, I am Mariama Thompson, wishing you a perfect night rest. Thanks for your time. Keep watching the SLBC.
Sierra Leone is always fondly remembered as the image of a lion. Whether one looks at the sprawling hills or the spreading rivers, Sierra Leone stretches as a pride of lions.
Many Sierra Leoneans don't remember
when they last saw a lion. However, that did not stop Pedro de Sintra, a young Portuguese discoverer, from naming this great country Sierra Leone.
From 1462, when Sierra Leone was named by de Sintra, to the years of slavery and the years of freedom, Sierra Leone has come a long way to becoming a diversified and unified country.
Coastal Sierra Leone has always attracted attention from neighbors near and far away. The country's river Rukel, running into the great Atlantic Ocean, has always opened its doors to every human civilization for as long as it has existed.
Known as the Athens of West Africa, Sierra Leone has built a name for itself upon a solid educational foundation, with colonial experimental institutions such as the Grammar School, Annie Walsh Memorial School, and Forabe College, institutions which led the All-Africa way for quality education for people of African origin.
Sierra Leone, a country of several pictures, of courageous battles, of slavery and of colonialism, of independence and of self-rule, of civil war and of activism,
of blood diamonds and of peace diamonds. Sierra Leone has emerged as a country, a concept and a conscience. Sierra Leone, the beautiful diamond of Africa.
Introducing Mr. Clean, a professional cleaning service offering you a quality cleaning service in your homes, offices, schools, businesses, and much more. Mr. Clean provides the latest effective cleaning products that handles your pest invasions, cooking stains, grimy bathrooms, your dusty floors, carpet tiles and carpets, windows, damp smells, and so much more. We ensure all of our products are environmentally friendly and your environment is handled with extra care. Mr. Clean fumigates your warehouses, extinguishes bats, snakes, birds, and collects your garbage. We clean both the exterior and interior of your homes. Our team of highly skilled and trained staff are devoted to giving your environment a magical look and a spotless finish. We take great pride in handling all of your cleaning challenges. Our service is fast, efficient, and reliable, giving you outstanding results. Mr. Clean offers you a range of services from daily to annual cleaning. We are proud cleaner for SLBC, Sierra Leone Bottling Company, NEC, Salon Parliament, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs,